Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8 of the Lead Her podcast, and today I want to help you overcome past beliefs so that really can become more confident in ourselves. Because I had this conversation with a friend last week when she felt something had happened in the past on her social media that it made her stop sharing on social media for so many years because of this one person's comment. And it really brought me back to this story that I share with a lot of our Lead Her members, was that when I used to work back in the pubs, when I was like 20, 21, 22, I worked in this pub and it was an amazing place to work. It was an Australian bar and it really just had the attitude of like Coyote Ugly. Now maybe I'm not allowed to say this, but we had lock-ins, we would dance on the bar, we would just do karaoke. It was just such a fun time, and I've got so many amazing memories of working in that bar and working with these incredible, gorgeous, intelligent, driven women that I worked with, and some of them I'm still like such good friendships with them today. They were amazing women and I just loved being in and around them. But obviously working in a bar with many women like that, it did bring in a certain clientele. And one day I was tidying up the bar and this guy, really drunk guy, I don't know who he was, I don't know his name, I couldn't even tell you what he looked like, but he said this one thing to me and it has stayed with me ever since. So let's say I was 22, I'm now 34, it's still something that I remember, and I don't even know who that man is. And I still remember his comment, and it was, "Are you a swimmer?" And I was like, no, really quiet and really embarrassed because someone's commenting on your body. And he was like, oh really? It's just you've got a really broad frame. I thought you were a swimmer. And I was like, no. And coming from a background of also having quite a flat chest, being told you've got a flat chest and you've got a really broad body, I was just like, wow, I must look like a man. Like, I have got a horrible body. I'm really broad. I've got horrible shoulders. Like, I just felt so low in confidence about my body from that one comment. And I held on to that comment for years. And I remember when I had to wear vest tops or when I had to get my arms out, I was like, oh, I just hated it. And I felt really square. I just felt like I had a little boy frame. I just didn't like it at all. And even through the years when I did start going to the gym and I was building muscle, I remember a conversation I had with Joe. I was like, are my arms really big? And he was like, no, they're tiny. Why would you think that? And that's when I realised that this man had made a comment that it had made me realise something wasn't even true, and I believed that for years, and it really upsets me. But I've also noticed it with my friend when we were chatting last week with what she stopped sharing on social media because of one person's comment. Someone that she doesn't even speak to anymore has stopped her from doing something. And I know for so many of you, there's maybe something you're not doing with your life because of what one person has said about yourself, about your body, or about your accomplishments. They've maybe said you're not smart enough to be a vet, you've not got enough time to become and do something else that you want to do, or they've just told you something that you shouldn't do and you believed it and you've not challenged it in any way until today. Hopefully today can be the day that you actually sit down and challenge this belief, because it could be game changing for you. So I wanted to share 3 things that have helped me build confidence and start to change that belief, because again, we are the only person that can change your belief. We are the only people, yourself is the only person who can build confidence. If you keep believing you're a certain thing, no one can change that for you. And this is why it's so important for you to sit down and do this work and actually question yourself, like where your beliefs are coming from, or why you're acting a certain way, or why you're talking to yourself in a certain way, because that is what's leading you to not feel confident in yourself, and you can only control these thoughts. And yes, we can exercise as much as we want, we can eat as little as we like. We're never going to be happy unless we get that mind changed, and it takes longer for your mind to change than your body, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. But I thought there's so many different ways you can build confidence, so many ways. And I can imagine we'll probably do a lot of podcast episodes on building confidence and on building belief. And we've actually got some guests coming on very soon to talk about these things as well. But I wanted to share like 3 things that have actually helped me build belief on that topic and on that issue. And we can relate that into other stuff today that you're maybe wanting to do and achieve as well. So number 1 for me was to really recognise that belief and where it came from. Was it a bully at school that told you you had a big nose or a big jaw? Like my mum has a belief that she's got this really pointy chin, and I'm like, where does that come from? And when I ask her that question, she's like, oh, I don't know, I just know that I have one. And I'm like, yeah, but you must find out where that belief came from, because someone said that to you and you've believed for years, and you hate that area because of maybe something someone said at school, and it could be as long as that as being a child, and you've just believed it all these years. I know we come up with stuff like this quite a lot in the podcast, but it's so true, and that's why I always come back to this story about the bar. It's like, I honestly don't know this guy's name. And his one comment, whether he meant it in a good way or a bad way, it stayed with me for so long. And that's the other thing as well, like when it has maybe been a bully or it has been someone at work, it's normally like more a reflection on them when they've said something to you. If they've said something to you like you're boring, you're not good enough, you're ugly, or you're not smart enough, that's a reflection on their own personal issues to tell you that. It's not actually a reflection on you, but sometimes we all just take stuff so personally. Like, but now when I'm older, like we probably all had these comments when we were young and we were already insecure, that we'd be listening out for the stuff that followed our belief system and showed us we weren't good enough. We would be listening out for all those comments. But now we're here in the future and we're in our 30s or 40s and beyond, is that we can actually reflect back and go, hold on a minute, I actually could twist what that man said and take that as a huge compliment, that he thought, even when I didn't train and I didn't exercise and I had less muscle, that he already thought I was athletic, healthy, strong, like talented person. I could have took it that way, and where would my confidence have gone if I did take it that way and I did believe it, that he said that in that way? And maybe he did, you know, it could have been a huge compliment for him, but I took it as a negative. And that's the same thing with what a lot of men say. One of our members, Rachel, she is a firefighter, and she was telling me whenever she was going through, she'd be laughing listening to this, when she was going through her weight loss journey, when we were getting her, turning her into a proper badass, she was getting better, she was getting healthier, she was getting stronger, her body shape was changing so much, and the guys at work, being mostly men in that industry, they were like, oh, you look really skinny, you look really small, and she's like, I don't like being called skinny. She's like, why are they calling me skinny? She's like, I want to be told I'm jacked and I'm muscly and I'm toned and I'm strong. She's like, why do they use these words? But that's the thing with men, is like, they don't know what to say to us, and they don't know what we want to hear. And even if we think about it right now, is that, what do men say these days when we ask them, do our bum look big in this? Like, are they meant to say yes? Because some women would love to have a big tush, some women would love to have a smaller tush. So they're like, I don't know what to say because I don't want her to get upset and I don't want to be in a bad book. So I think either way, whatever they say, it's going to upset us. So it's almost like whatever men say, we need to just take it as a nice way, because I think they don't know what words we want to kind of hear, and they don't know how to articulate what's in their heads. So maybe they will come out with something, but maybe they meant it in a positive way. Or sometimes at work, when men maybe do give us advice, they're giving us a bit of tough love to help encourage us to do something different and to help us become better, but we instantly take it that we're not good enough. And it is really hard, and I think that's when we always need to take a step back and not worry about what other people say about us, and being able to be in a place where, like, I honestly don't care if you guys don't like my laugh, or if you don't like my voice, or you don't like my hair. I don't care, because I like it. That's all that matters to me. Even if Joe was like, oh, I don't really like that dress on you, I'd be like, well, I feel good in it, so I don't care. And I think that is true confidence, when you can just not care, as long as you know you love what you're wearing and you love how you look and how you sound and you don't give a hoot. That is confidence to me. So I think the first thing is really sitting down and just really kind of noticing where that belief has came from, and really start to challenge it, really start to understand it. And it's just going, okay, if you think you're not good enough to go back into education, it's like, well, why is that? Because I maybe have took so long out of that, but is that true? No, that's not true. And just keep confirming to yourself that whatever you're saying is not actually true, and it can change. Really opens you up to new pathways and new beliefs that you can really kind of start to kind of recognise. So first one, sit down, figure out where that belief came from, and that's the start of change. Number two, for me, was to start doing something and achieving it and doing it and proving to myself that I could actually stick to something and I could actually do something. So at this time, like I said, I was working in restaurants and I was working in bars, and I just started going to the gym, and I would just go to the gym twice a week, 3 times a week. Each week I was going, and I was showing myself that I could be consistent with something. But I also noticed each time I went to the gym, it got easier. I got stronger, I got fitter, and I was just showing up, and I had a side project, I had a side goal outside of work and home life where I didn't really feel I was achieving anything, so I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life then. This was like a side thing that I just started to really feel good and proud about myself because I was doing something and I was achieving something. And we see this all the time in Lead Hard, is like with our members when they are at such a kind of low place and not feeling good enough, is like when they start weight training and getting fitter and getting healthier, their confidence really starts to grow and they feel stronger at work and they feel stronger as a mum. Even little things like us just feeling strong enough to lift the shopping in, or to be able to fix something or lift something in the house that we'd never be able to kind of do before. Like when you get strong in the gym, you physically feel strong in every other aspect of life. And I absolutely loved the change in my body from getting stronger. I felt awesome. I just felt like I could achieve something. So sometimes we have to start making sure we can do something. I know so many of you maybe say you want to get fitter and you want to get healthier, or you want to start a YouTube, or you want to start a podcast, or you want to get a new job, but you're not doing anything about it. And you keep saying, oh, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next week. You're showing yourself you're not good enough. You're showing yourself that you are not doing the work and you're failing. But when you start doing a little bit, so it might just be like you do it twice a week, you do it once a week, you just start and doing it weekly and showing up no matter what, is like that's where confidence comes from you doing the actions and from you doing the work. To become the person you want to be, you need to show yourself that you can achieve something and that you can do something, and that you celebrate all those wins as well. So when the weights were going up in the gym, I was like, God, I'm really good. I'm actually quite good at this. And I just loved that whole journey. And honestly, that's the biggest thing that I've seen my growth and confidence came from, just being healthy, being fit, and just showing up and doing a thing that made me feel good. And the other bonus of that was that I really just noticed that my body was so much more than how it looked. Like, it was strong, it was fit. And from me just focusing on getting stronger and building muscle and getting fitter, was that my body was a byproduct of that. Like, of course, if you're living in a way that you live in a way where you would see a confident person live, if you were like, right, okay, what would a confident person to do? They'd work out, they'd eat well. Like, I was doing all those actions, that the confidence came, the body came, everything came from me doing the work. So you don't need to be feeling confident to get started. You just need to get started and do these actions every single week. No matter how small they are, you're showing yourself you can do the work, and the confidence and the growth will just kind of come from there. So that was like great to see. The byproduct of the fitness journey and the health journey was that my body just started to look fantastic alongside that as well. And the last thing that I would say really helped me as well was just noticing that nothing is perfect, ever. Not just body or physical things, but even just with podcasts. Like, in this podcast, there'll be a little edit in it because I forgot what I was going to say. There's going to be the wrong words. There's going to be weeks when I've got a good camera. There's going to be weeks when I've got a crap camera. There's going to be weeks when I've got microphones and weeks that I don't. But I'm still putting them out there. I'm still getting them done. I'm not perfect with it yet. And maybe I never will be perfect. Does not need to just be body-wise. But it's just now really realising, like, confidence won't come from things being perfect. It never will. And the biggest thing I remember when I was younger is I used to put clothes on and I'd hate myself in them, and I'd be like, I'm so ugly. And then I would be like, oh, I'd put my hair up and there'd be a bump in my hair, so I have to redo it over and over again because things had to be perfect. And it wasn't until I just kind of started to realise it doesn't need to be perfect. And my mum said to me, the best thing you can ever wear is a smile. And I do think that is actually like a Marilyn Monroe quote, but I googled it one day and it did come up. But that was one thing my mum said to me, was that the best thing you can wear is a smile. So see, when I'm having a period day or just like an off day where I don't feel great, because to be honest guys, you don't feel confident all the time. That's impossible. I still have days when I'm like, ugh, I feel a little bit yucky, but they don't happen all the time. It's like once every couple of months I'll get a day like that when I'm a bit bloated or feeling a bit crap, that I just say to myself, I'm like, Leanne, it doesn't fucking matter. Just smile, be happy, enjoy the day. Like, you've only got this day once. Why affect how your hair looks today or how your makeup is today, or that you don't quite love that outfit affect how this day is going to be? It's not bloody worth it. And I think when you've been brought up in this generation of Heat magazines, girl talk magazines, like we were brought up in the proper 80s, 90s era of Kate Moss and supermodels, that we'd see magazines of like people with tummies and people with cellulite and stretch marks and be told that it was wrong and it was disgusting, it was bad, that we'd all be in the mirror and be like, oh my god, I've got that too. Like, does that mean I'm not worthy? Does that mean I'm not good enough? Like, we were brought up with all these images. And it wasn't until I did stop reading magazines, I stopped reading trashy mags, I think they just naturally fell out. Social media obviously came in place, but I just noticed that when I was on certain people's accounts, I could see stuff was photoshopped, I could see everything was perfect. It did not make me feel good. Like, my social media, I am so strict with this, and I think we need to really realise that confidence comes from what you're feeding your brain as well. Like I said, this brain sees so much and hears so much, and you're the only person that control what this sees and what it thinks and what it does. You're the only person that can change this. And I'm actually still surprised with some of our members when they show me stuff they've seen on social media. I'm like, but why are you seeing that? The thing is, we need to be ruthless with our social media. Like, whether you don't want to have it at all or whether you do have it, if you go on mine, you will not find any celebrities, or you wouldn't really find any fitness related people. It is covered in gardening videos, doggy videos, normal people that I enjoy and laugh and enjoy their social media, people that share their fuck ups, because it genuinely fills me with entertainment and it makes me feel normal that messing up is okay, or just that it is just all the simple fun things. Like, it should be a fun place to be. It shouldn't be something that you're going on and coming away and not feeling good enough. And that shows that the people you're following, it is these perfect images. It is this perfect life. It's these girl bosses who are out there smashing it. It's these mums who are perfect, clean, beautiful houses and everything's wonderful and beautiful and they've all got matching outfits, and it's like, God, I can't even brush my hair and get out my PJs today, and they've got this whole family in the same clothing. Like, our expectations on ourselves are so high and we never feel bloody good enough, and that's not real. And that's when we need to just get rid of all these perfect, not to get rid of them completely, because it is enjoyment and it is entertainment, but it's just really making sure that you narrow down how many accounts you follow, or whether you can step away and go, I love that they wear matching outfits, I love that they've got a perfectly clean house, I don't have the time for that. And that again is just being honest with yourself and setting your expectations where they should really be, so that you can have that confidence in yourself and that belief in yourself. But I just want you to always remember, it is like, nothing's going to be perfect. Like I said, even doing this podcast, it is not perfect. I fuck up, I mess up. If you're going to do a YouTube channel, if you're going to start writing a book, or if you're going to start changing your job or going in a different direction in life, like, don't expect it to be perfect, because you will see your confidence really start to drop and not feel good enough. And the same with our body as well. It's like, it's not going to be perfect, but it should not be something that makes or breaks your day. And you walk about with a grumpy face all day, of course you're going to have a grumpy day. If you've just going to let yourself feel that way, you can decide straight away when you're standing in the mirror and you don't love your outfit, just be like, I'm just walking away from the mirror, it's fine, I'm going to put my favourite lipstick on, I'm going to put my favourite perfume on, I'm going to smile, and I'm going out today because it's about everybody else. It's not just about how I look. No one cares what their friends look like when they come out. They just want them there, they just want to have their company, and that's the most important thing. Okay, so that's my 3 things that I know really, really, really helped me turn from a low place, from that one comment from that man, to really kind of start to realise, like, nothing is perfect and everybody's shape is different, and that I can actually start to change how I believe and start to actually love these areas and see them actually go in a good direction and see them as strong and powerful. And it's like my favourite area. And women now, I love seeing a woman in a flat chest, I love seeing a woman with lovely arms. I know they're athletic and they exercise and they look after themselves, and just really changing this mindset of that one comment and really kind of growing into like my favourite area of my body now was from doing those 3 things. Okay, I hope you've took something away from today. I hope it's helped you in some way. I hope you have a fantastic week, and thank you again for listening along, and I'll speak to you all soon.